Welcome, everyone, to the Media Row podcast with me, Justin Miller. Happy to have you guys along here on this Wednesday. Again, I know these weeks have been kind of all over the place show-wise, but July's been crazy. We have Lake Trip this weekend, Bachelor Party the last weekend, July 4th, of course, the weekend before. We're all over the place, but there's only 2 more weird weeks, and then it will be all settled, and then we blink our eyes, and it's football season. So we'll get back to a normal schedule here soon. But that being said, we're still working hard, getting guests, making sure we can put out the best shows possible. So happy to have you guys along here for the ride on this Wednesday. Big shows this week. So today, of course, we have Jake Brend, who started a new gig with Cyclone Fanatic, leaving Channel 5. He's going to talk about his career change and also just he was at Big 12 Media Days, what he sees ahead for the Cyclone squad and kind of the Big 12 as a whole. As, of course, we just mentioned, you're going to blink and it's going to be fall and football season. And then Friday's show, another career change, slightly, but still a new gig as Brent Bloom, who was the director for the We Will Collective, of course, with the new NIL rules and just colleges being able to pay their athletes. He's got a new position and some new staff with him. So we're going to talk about that with Brent Bloom on Friday. But before we get to our Jake Brent interview here today, let's give a shout out to Kelly's Little Nipper at 1701 East Grand Avenue in Des Moines. Great people, great food, great drinks, and better community over there at the historic Kelly's Little Nipper. If you follow them along on social media, which you should, you would have seen how they had a great turnout for their corn cob eating contest, which was an amazing watch. Go check it out. It's on their Facebook page. But they have fun stuff like that all the time, along with their great daily food and drink menu. But Wednesdays, you got trivia night. You have live music on Fridays and Saturdays. Just the weekends are so much fun. Every day is fun. And go experience everything that the historic Kelly's Little Nipper has to offer. 1701 East Grand Avenue in Des Moines. Make sure when you go to Kelly's Little Nipper to let them know that Media Row sent you. Jake, thank you again for doing this for me. First off, though, happy late birthday. I saw it was your birthday yesterday, right? And
yes,
I totally missed it. Just saw it on Facebook today.
No, thank you. Thanks. Birthdays after 21 are just like,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, is it 30 where you could run for president? So now's the
I think
next
that's 35.
Oh, 35.
I'm looking forward to 25 when I can rent a car. But other than that,
yeah,
it's just like, another year on the sun. It's just fun to get people together and all that stuff.
Did you do anything big?
They hit the town a little bit Saturday night with some college and high school friends, and then actually Keith Murphy and Chris Williams showed up. So that was fun. And then Sunday, I just had a chill day. Watched some Wimbledon, went and saw F1 finally. It was a good day.
Was F1 good? Because
it was really good. I hate sports movies for the most part. Like, I really dislike sports movies. So if I like a sports movie, it's got to really, really impress me.
Okay. That actually intrigues me more because I was one of those people seeing the trailer. I was like, I think this looks bad, but I've heard great things. So I'm like, all right, I'll go check it out. What's your hottest take then for a sports movie? Is there one that everybody loves that you're like, no?
I mean, Rudy's probably not a hot take. I think a lot of people dislike Rudy. I can't stand Rudy. Friday Night Lights, can't stand it.
That one may be a hot take. That one is like one I'm okay with, but people love Friday Night Lights.
I like a lot of baseball movies. Like, I love Major League.
Yeah.
I love The Sandlot. But I don't think there's a single football movie that I like.
The one I remember as a kid really liking, but I haven't seen it in years, was We Are Marshall with Matthew McConaughey.
Okay, I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can give an accurate representation of it. But for the most part, I just find sports movies too cheesy. The great part about sports is the best moments are like a movie.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just, like, the final Sunday of the 2019 Masters is better than any sports movie ever made. Like
Yeah.
it just is. And so is the Miracle on Ice. Like I'd rather just go watch the Miracle on Ice. Although the movie's actually pretty good.
Yeah, the movie isn't bad. I'm also the one those people like let's say they were going to make a 2019 Masters movie. I'm like I'd rather just either
Watch the
rewatch
Masters.
it, yeah, or watch a documentary.
Same
Like
same
I
here.
the movies sometimes it gets too cheesy at times. So I'm agreeing with you on that one. But no, I wanted to get you on because you've made a career shift. You were at Big 12 Media Days, so I want to talk about that. But first off, congrats on this, what I assume is a dream job for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Working for Cyclone Fanatic, I grew up reading Cyclone Fanatic and then later on in life listening to when the media landscape shifted to podcasts. So I'm a lifelong diehard born and raised Cyclone. So to be able to cover the team day to day and talk about the team, like it doesn't get much better than that. And I'm really lucky that Chris has given me that opportunity. And I think we're both on the same page on kind of how we want to approach this next era of media. And I'm just really excited because it's been a blast the first month, and I've done Big 12 Media Days, and I've done like one random summer basketball. So it's like we haven't even scratched the surface
Yeah.
of like what the season is going to look like. So I'm really pumped.
How did this all come about? I mean, was this something that was kind of in the works for a little bit, or did it just all of a sudden you blink your eyes and you're like, oh, this is actually going to happen now?
Yeah, I think just having like a super strong relationship with Chris, I've always known it was maybe a possibility. And just with some changes in local television, not Local 5 itself. Local 5 was great to me and gave me tons of options and tons of opportunities. So it was more just kind of what's happening in local television itself
Mhm.
nationwide. I kind of just started to look and see what's possible. And when when I got a hint that this could be a possibility, I really, really strongly considered it. And then things just kind of happened. And so far, I feel like it's been a match made in heaven.
I mean, will it be nice to be able to shine your Cyclones colors a little brighter? I mean, I know you're still going to be professional, but it is going to be nice for you to like actually be able to cheer on Iowa State, it seems like in a more public fashion.
Yeah. I I definitely when I started at Local 5, I was so focused on avoiding any possibility that like anyone would know that I'm a Cyclone fan.
Yeah.
And the more and more that I think I got comfortable on air, and the more and more that I got comfortable that like this is supposed to be like you. It's supposed to be your personality. Like that's a part of my personality. I've got Psy tattooed on my ankle. Like
Oh, I didn't know that.
I can't take that away from my personality. So I think leaned into it a little bit more over my time at Local 5, but now it truly is like I want Iowa State to win. I will feel sick to my stomach when I cover the team and they lose in the NCAA tournament, God forbid. I'll feel sick to my stomach if I go to Ireland and they lose. And I'll be pretty transparent about that. But I do think at the same time that I will want to keep that same level of professionalism that I'm in the media. My job in the media isn't to be a fan, but at the same time, I can't 100% hide that I'm
Yeah.
a fan.
And that is something special about Cyclone Fanatic because I mean, I've been reading and watching their stuff too. And yeah, it's what the fans want. You know, they're speaking for the fans in a sense. And if I'm a fan of a team, yeah, I want you to be excited when the fans are excited, but I also want you to be pissed when the fans are pissed too. You know, have that nice
Yep.
balance and still be professional, which I know Chris and all those guys have been.
Well, and when you look at it too, um, not necessarily that if you're working for the Des Moines Register you're probably not making more money because Team X wins or Team X loses,
Yeah.
but your bosses are. And so maybe the Des Moines Register isn't a great example, but when the team's good, the clicks are going up, like your job is just better. So naturally, I think it's very, very difficult in sports media to not have some sort of bias. And I think the thing that we focus on at Cyclone Fanatic is we want people to know that we want the Cyclones to win, but we also want them to know that if the team is 3-9, they can come to our website or they can come to the podcast and we're going to say the team sucks. And that's where I think that is trying to find the balance of not just being, we're not employees of the university. So
Yeah.
we can go out and be negative
Mm-hmm.
if the right guard is really struggling and misses 90% of his blocks in a game. We'll be able to go out and say that. And of course, you toe the line. You know exactly
Yeah.
how it is with you covering Drake as
Yep.
well. It's very similar.
And two, with being with Cyclone Fanatic, you're leaving local 5. That means nothing will change with Iowa Everywhere because you do that Big 12 show as well, right? So
Yep.
you're just you're just adding more to to your resume at that point.
Yeah, bigger than 12 on Iowa Everywhere will probably get easier because so the way that we did it last year, and we've still got to kind of work out our plan for this season,
Mhm.
but I couldn't make Sundays happen. And Sundays was probably going to be the most ideal day to record, fresh reaction, but I wasn't going to be able to cover a football game in Iowa City, go and anchor a 12-hour day and find time to go watch all the games because I make sure to go on YouTube TV. I can find ways to watch every game in about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And there was just no way to make that happen. So we would watch on Tuesdays. But what do I do on Tuesdays? I work. So I would pretty much be either using my dinner break and it was just, it was hard to do. So this change will make that easier to where I can pretty much set aside 2 hours early Sunday morning to find a way to watch all the Big 12 games. And maybe we can have more of a fresh reaction on Sunday nights.
I mean, that's a good point you bring up of just it may make things easier, this change. Is it going to make things easier too in your personal life as well of just being able to balance that work life?
I think so. I'm already experiencing that because like I'll work the long hours in
Yeah.
football and basketball season. Saturdays, I anticipate the way I work on Saturdays, I wake up at 6 o'clock and not because I want to, my body wants me to. Because I seriously will feel just the adrenaline of a game day. And I'll pretty much work from the second that I'm awake until the second that I sleep. And those make for long days, long weeks. But then this time of year, that's when you kind of get a step back, relax. I'm not probably working the normal 40-hour weeks that I've been used to. And that's where you didn't really get it in local news because your September through March or your September through April is considered your busy season or your busiest season.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the seasons are still busy too. It's maybe just not as extreme. But
Yeah.
I'm like, if I was in local news right now, I'd be getting ready for state baseball and softball next week. And that's a really long week. So to be able to have that flexibility to have my nights free for the most part and to be able to go hit the golf course, it is a nice change for the personal life and the work life balance.
What's cool too about you now taking on this new gig with Cyclone Fanatic, you left Channel 5 on top because I see the award peeking there behind you, which congrats on that as well. If you want to
Thank
tell
you.
the listeners exactly what you won here not too long ago. It was like a few weeks ago. I swear I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah, so I won the Iowa Sportscaster of the Year from the National Sports Media Association. That was named back in January. And
Oh, wow.
the banquet was a couple weeks ago. So it was kind of funny because everyone there, you network and it's a really, really cool event. And you're like, so what do you do? I'm like, well, I literally just changed jobs like a week ago or a week and a half ago. So I won this from my work at the ABC affiliate in Des Moines, but I'm doing this. So it was a funny deal, but I didn't plan it like that. I honestly didn't really know that award existed until I found out that I was nominated. So it was just a really cool deal, and I'm blessed. It says on the award, chosen by his peers.
Yeah.
So to be in a media landscape like Des Moines, like Iowa, that's just filled with so many great people, and the fact that those people thought to choose me is pretty freaking cool.
And then wasn't it Tarico that gave out the award as well? That's pretty
Yep.
cool as well.
Yeah, getting to chop it up with Tarico over a couple old fashions at the hotel bar is something that I'll never forget.
But no, I'm really excited to see what you're able to do at Cyclone Fanatic. I'm really happy for you too, because I think you're going to just kill it, and it's a dream job. There's no one better for this position. But like you said, kind of a slower period, but you jump right into Big 12 Media Days, and I did want to get to those of just kind of what what does the season look like for the Iowa State Cyclones? What does a good season look like, and maybe what does a disappointing season look like?
Yeah, I think with what they have returning, you've got the quarterback, which is the most important part, and you've got a couple all conference players returning as well on the defensive side of the ball. With what they have coming back in the continuity with the coaching staff and really the coaching staff are the old guys now. Like Campbell's the second longest tenured coach in the Big 12. Obviously, Kyle Whittingham is the longest tenured, but when we're talking guys that have been in the Big 12, it's Gundy and Campbell. And I think with that pedigree, like the expectation should be 8, 9 wins. And I think I haven't really set like a specific number on what I think would be a disappointment, but I think if you get to mid-November and you're out of the Big 12 title race, like that's a disappointment to me. If if you get to mid-November and it's win against Oklahoma State in the final game of the year and result X has to go your way and result Y has to go your way and you miss out on the Big 12 championship, but you win that game, then you just kind of chalk it up to, well, in 24, we how close was it to going the other way where you could have been 10-2 and left out of the Big 12 title game. So I think that's where it is. Whether that's 9-3, whether that's 10-2, I think as long as you're in the hunt when you hit that mid-November stretch, I think that's a success, and anything less than that is a disappointment. But obviously, like that was the first thing Rocco Beck said. They want to get back to the Big 12 championship. When I talked to Jeremiah Cooper in Dallas, he said, we drove by the hotel where we stayed last year. And I remember the feeling of being embarrassed in the biggest game of our lives on national TV. So I think the expectation within that is not only get back to Arlington, but win that thing. And I think they've got the talent to do it. It's a tough league. It's a real deep league 1 through 10. There's not much change when you look at the top from Arizona State down to heck, even like a Houston.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like how you emphasize too of a disappointment for Iowa State would be they are not in the hunt and they would need other teams to help them out. So it would be out of their hands. Because I think that's the best way to put it is with the league so deep, yeah, it's going to be a battle till the end. There's no easy wins on the schedule, but you want to be able to control your own destiny.
Right. Yeah. Because, I mean, lose to Iowa. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I really hope that doesn't happen. But say you lose to Iowa and go 7-2 in the league. That's a 9-3 season. And last year, when they went 7-2 in the league, a result of Houston against so-and-so in the middle of September decided who went to the Big 12 championship game. So that's where I'm like, if you're at 9-3 and that's how it plays out, I think that is maybe not a success, but I also wouldn't call it a disappointment either.
Yeah. And also, too, I mean, with Iowa State, I mean, this 9 wins is still really good for this just program as a whole. But it is really cool to see what the coaches have been able to do to turn this around where, yeah, fans are going to see a 9-3. And if you're not in the Big 12 title race, you're going to be like, oh, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, the fact that we're even talking about that is ridiculous. Like it wasn't that long ago that winning the 2017 Liberty Bowl might as well throw in a parade of names. And Matt Campbell said it. He said it then, like, bullshit programs do not care about going 6-6. And people might have laughed at him. People from other fan bases around the country might have laughed at him, but he has proven that to be true. I think there's a decent chunk of the fan base that would be pissed at an 8-4 season. And it's not like they've got an easy schedule either. You
No.
open the year against the team that was just picked to win the Big 12. I think Iowa's going to be a lot better this year than they were last year. You host the Big 12 champs at your place. You go to Boulder and you go to TCU. Like that is not an easy schedule. And there are still some fans, and maybe rightfully so, that would be disappointed with an 8-4 season. And that, I think more than anything, that just goes to show how impressive Matt Campbell's coaching job over a decade has been.
Yeah, and like that's what you want too as a fan base, because you don't want to ever be sitting there going like, oh yeah, I mean I'd be happy with 7-5. No, you want to always be going for as high as you can. But no, I think like you said, it's a real testament to what Campbell has built. But this year, you bring up, Rocco, huge key factor coming back. But man, that wide receiver room looks a little different, a lot different, I
Way
should
different.
say. And then I feel like the offensive line too can be kind of a cause for concern.
Yeah, so the receivers, you lose a second round pick who was, I mean, pretty much a first round pick. I don't know if you've seen what's happened in the NFL the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Jaden Higgins got the first fully guaranteed deal for a second round pick ever. And now 30 of the 32 picks haven't signed their deals because Higgins shifted the market that much, which is crazy. So you've got to replace that. And you could argue that he wasn't even Iowa State's best receiver last year. And you've got to replace Jalen Knoll as well. And I think they've got the pieces to maybe fill those gaps, but not like you can't completely replace that. There's no way you can completely replace that. And I think Chase Sewell, the East Carolina transfer, his prototype is really similar to Higgins. And Xavier Townsend, he's a very similar prototype to Jalen Knoll, but it takes time to build chemistry with a quarterback. And Townsend being lifelong friends with Rocco probably helps in that sense for chemistry
I didn't know
purposes.
They were lifelong friends.
Yep, they're both from the Tampa area, and
okay.
Rocco actually said down at media days that he's been trying to get him to Iowa State for 2 years. So you've got two guys that you can at least see the tools of where they could maybe fill 80% of that production, but there's got to be the 20%. And I think a lot of that just has to come from Rocco. Rocco's completion percentage last year, 59%. It was down 3% from 2023. His touchdown to interception ratio was actually really good. His problem, he threw 9 picks, which on paper isn't bad at all. 4 of them were pick sixes. So that stuff has to cut back. And I just think in general, Rocco would be the first to tell you this, that his play from minute 1 to minute 58 has to be better. Like, he led Iowa State on 4 game-winning drives last year. That is unheard of. He did it for over a third of their wins, and 5, but the defense gave up a touchdown against Texas Tech. So that right there shows that he's got what it takes, and then some in the clutch. He's just got to be a little bit sharper in quarters 1 through 3 this season, and I think he will. I 100% have no doubt that he will. And just that's where it's got to come from. Ben Bramer as well, the tight end, who
he was kind of banged up though last year.
He got hurt mid-October or early October.
Yeah,
and he didn't come back until the Big 12 championship. And Rocco told me that he was playing at 50%, and he should not have been playing in Arlington. And Bramer is somebody who he was a freshman All-American, and he came back. He was dinged up. Then he got that severe injury and was out for most of the year. So you'll be able to make up for it in the tight end game. And I like what you mentioned about the offensive line. They've got 4 starters back. They've got Austin Barrett, the transfer from Wisconsin, coming in, but they're replacing a 4th-round pick in Jalen Travis. And Travis had a really, really, really good year at the most important position on the line at left tackle. So if they can use all that experience coming back to continue to develop, it could be a wash. But again, it's not every day that you have a draft pick, let alone a top 4-round draft pick come through Iowa State. So they've certainly got to replace Travis and be able to run the ball.
Well, and then Hufford too, the center, he signed, I want to say with the Ravens, didn't he?
Yep. So yeah. three returners back on the offensive line.
Yeah, so that's another, because he was just a veteran too. Like
and he played all over. He was a tackle at one point. He was a guard. He played center last year. So he's kind of that Swiss Army knife that you got to replace as well.
No, so and there were moments last year where you could just see the offensive line wasn't just fully clicking at moments. Like you bring up all those game-winning drives Rocco needed. I mean, I remember watching that UCF game in person, and just Rocco was running for his life. I still can't believe they won that game. But so I'm just worried about that offensive line early on, but I like how you mentioned they have returners, and then just what gives you the confidence that Campbell, of course, I mean, his track record proves that those are going to be early cause of concerns, but aren't going to be main reasons Iowa State loses games.
Yeah, if you want me to give you the silver lining, it's year 3 of the Ryan Clanton era. And I think the fans' expectations of Clanton were a little bit too high early, because his first year, the offensive line was not good. But is that really enough time to judge an offensive line coach? Absolutely not. He hasn't even been able to recruit his own guys in yet. And I think the strides that they took from year 1 to year 2 were so encouraging compared to what Iowa State had in years prior. So if they can even take another half step forward, I do think there's a world where Iowa State maybe does have an above average offensive line, which I think is really all they need. And they showed flashes last year. The West Virginia game, they were just pounding it down their throats. Like that was the vision of, okay, this is what this could be. Even the Utah game, flat out domination up front. So I think if they're able to sustain that a little bit more, and I'm not worried about the pass protection. A little bit of that is Rocco's so good at evading pressure anyways that I don't know how much the pass protection matters, but it's the run. It's the run game. If the difference between getting 3 yards a pop and 5 to 6 yards a pop is all the difference in the world. And that's where the last few years, really since you've had Breece Hall, you haven't really been able to completely rely on the run game. And Carson Hansen had a lot of really good games last year, got dinged up. If you can get back to the point where you can rely on 100 yards a game from your running backs, then that's another way to make up for the loss of Higgins and Knoll.
And then with you being at Big 12 Media Days, were there any other top stories outside of Iowa State that maybe you didn't know of, or that maybe changed your outlook on a certain team?
I think the more that I'm around Texas Tech, the more that I'm selling stock. And it might be the opposite of what most people would think. I get the sense that if Texas Tech doesn't win the Big 12, Joey McGuire's fired.
Really?
I have pretty good. I have that on pretty good authority that those are the types of expectations down in Lubbock, and that is a program. They haven't finished a season ranked since 2008 when when Mike Leach was the head coach there.
Is that Crabtree, that era?
Yeah, like it's been a long time, and that is a program that just hasn't won as much as maybe you'd think considering they've had the best quarterback in the world come through there. They've had these
Hmm.
high-powered offenses. The defenses were just so bad for so long, and they've they've really never had to deal with the pressure. And that's what makes me concerned because I've seen it. 2021 Iowa State. You were coming off of a Fiesta Bowl. You were one play away from winning the Big 12 championship, and you return everybody. Every single person on the team came back. How in the hell did they go 7-6? It doesn't make any sense. But when you look at it from what Matt Campbell said a couple weeks ago on the podcast, like Iowa State had never been in the spot where they had a target on their back. You can't really teach that. You can't really coach that until you've gone through it. And programs like Iowa State, when you have the weight of the world, like Georgia is used to it. Kirby
Yeah.
Smart knows if we fall short of a SEC championship and a national title appearance, the people in Athens are going to be pissed. It's programs like Iowa and Iowa State aren't used to that. And Texas Tech is in the same realm where who knows? Who knows if they lose an early game in conference play? Does the media eat them alive? You're paying these guys so much freaking money. Like it, that's what makes me worried. And I am selling my Texas Tech stock, but I could be wrong.
I like it. I mean, Texas Tech was a team last year. You bring it up, the offense, you would sit there and go, damn, how do they even lose a game? But then the defense would take the fill and go, oh, right there. That's
Yep.
why.
And I give them credit because they didn't go out and spend their $50 million
Mhm.
and buy these shiny new toys and get a bunch of receivers and a bunch of like they went out and they spent in the trenches, and I give them credit for that. And there is a world where maybe they are just like Texas a couple of years ago when Texas had a bunch of NFL offensive and defensive linemen, and they were just able to maul the rest of the league. And there is a world where Texas Tech is able to go out and do that. But I do worry that it might not come to fruition the way that they want. And if it doesn't come to fruition in September, it could be an avalanche and it could get ugly.
You were talking about, the more you're around Texas Tech, you're selling stock. Was there any teams that made you buy stock the more you're seeing them? Like, what are your top three teams as we look, a month or two before the season kicks off?
So I filled out my preseason ballot for Iowa Everywhere. And
Okay.
my top three, I picked Kansas State to win the league. And I picked them to beat Arizona State in the title game. And I picked Iowa State to come in third. I still feel coming out of Big 12 Media Days, I still feel as good about all those teams as I did heading in. I might even feel a little bit better about Arizona State now that I've been around Kenny Dillingham a little bit. But a team maybe a little bit off the radar that I'm higher on than I was a couple weeks ago is Utah. And I know that's not a crazy hot take. I think they've got the second best odds to win the league. But what they've done on offense, I do trust that Whittingham is handing the keys over to this new offensive coordinator that they're bringing in from New Mexico. And they brought a lot of the same offense. They bring the quarterback, Devin Dampier, over. I think with what they have on the offensive line, they might have the best O-line in college football. And we know what we're going to get out of a Utah defense. I think they're going to have a bounce back revenge type year after a pretty pitiful and embarrassing 2024.
And with Arizona State, because I'm seeing a lot of people high on Arizona State. Maybe this is just me being an outsider and not knowing as much about Arizona State. But when you lose a running back as big as they lost, I mean, what are their weapons? Why is Arizona State kind of the flashy pick right now?
So that's a valid point because Cam Scattaboo, I think he won them 3 games last year. You
One
could
of them
maybe
being the Big 12.
you could maybe argue more than
Yeah.
just 3 games. But they do return 17 starters. And Sam Levitt at quarterback was a different player in December than he was even in November. Like he grew so much over the course of the season. And there's a reason that he's kind of unanimously tabbed as the best quarterback in the league. And they get Jordan Tyson, their receiver who got injured before the Iowa State game. He was their their top receiver. He comes back. They were able to reload on some transfers. They got the Army running back coming in. I don't think they'll be able to rely on Udo, the running back, as much as they relied on Scadaboo, because I don't think any football team in the world could rely on a running back quite like ASU relied on Scadaboo last year. But I just really trust what Kenny Dillingham is building there. And I hate using the word culture. It's a strong culture, and it seems like a building that knows that they're just scratching the surface and definitely aren't content with just winning one Big 12 championship. I think they've got the pieces to do it again.
And so, Jake, thank you again so much for doing this for me. Again, I'm so excited to see what you are able to do with Cyclone Fanatic. Where can listeners check you out now? Anything change, like social media wise, for you?
Social media should all still be the same. So just Jake Brend TV on Twitter, Instagram. I think it's just Jake Brend on Facebook. And then you can read and listen to anything Cyclone Fanatic related on cyclonefanatic.com. That's the easiest place to find it. But if you follow me on social media, you'll probably be seeing a lot of stuff. Cyclone Fanatic on YouTube, just any of those words. Cyclone Fanatic, Jake Brend. I think you'll be able to find my work pretty easy.
Thank you to Jake Brend for hopping on the show. Now we've had him on twice. He's just going to be our Cyclone correspondent at this point. Going to be annoying him quite a bit throughout the football and basketball season. But Jake, a great friend of mine and someone who has been a great mentor as well, someone I've looked up to, despite us being really close in age as well. But happy to have Jake Brend on the show. Definitely won't be the last time. But before we wrap up today's show, give a shout out to Stevens Automotive and Sales at 5320 Northwest Beaver Drive in Johnston, Iowa. 35 years of family owned and operated here in the state. You do not want to take your car anywhere else but Stevens Automotive and Sales. They have great people. They are loyal. They communicate effectively, and there's no BS with whatever you are dealing with over there at Stevens Automotive and Sales. They will get you set, safe, and ready to go back on the road. So go check them out. 5320 Northwest Beaver Drive in Johnston, Iowa. 35 years of family owned and operated here in the state of Iowa. Make sure when you go check out Stevens Automotive and Sales that you let them know that Media Row sent you. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. Make sure to follow us on all of the social media platforms. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, rate, all that great stuff. It's greatly appreciated. It means the world. So continue doing a great job on your part. We'll make sure to continue to try to put out the best content and best shows possible. Friday, a big one with Brent Bloom, who is part of the We Will Collective and a new branching out with the Iowa State Athletics Department. So Brent Bloom on Friday here on the Media Row Podcast.